Hi, good evening. Today we're going to be talking about how you can find help when you're wanting to come off psychiatric medications. And what we're going to be doing in this video is going to be moving from sort of the most do-it-yourself options up to maybe getting professional help from like a doctor or a coach. And I'll walk you through each of these steps. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Josef Witt-Doerring. I'm a psychiatrist who specializes in helping people come off psychiatric medications. I've been in this space for 5 years and really kind of following this stuff longer than that. So I've learned a lot. I'm familiar with all of the options out there. And really this video is targeted towards people who may be kind of new to this. Maybe they've just realized that they wanted to come off their medications. And it's just dizzying. There's so much information in different places. And so I thought I would just do this step by step to show you kind of what all the options are. So in that vein, let's go ahead and start with step one, which is the do-it-yourself options. Now, what I'm going to do with you is just actually show you these things live on my screen. Let's start, say, with someone who wants to come off an antidepressant or an antipsychotic medication. The number one place I think you should go to get reliable information is actually survivingantidepressants.com. And let me show you how to use this resource. So let's say, for instance, you want to come off Geodon and you don't really know how to do that. You might search and then you'll find this thing, tips for tapering off Geodon, and what you can kind of replace this with anything. Abilify, tips for tapering off Abilify, Lexapro. And so you're going to be looking for this tips for tapering off. Now, I'm not sure if Adele did all of these things. Adele is Altostrada. She's just an absolute weapon. I mean, she's had her own severe withdrawal injury, and then she created this forum, which is probably one of the best forums out there. But each drug, each antidepressant, so mainly antidepressants and antipsychotics, will have a whole write-up here on how you can do it. And what it will essentially tell you is, what form the drug comes in, how you might taper it. A lot of them are really simple, but, some of them are more complicated. So let's say, for instance, you were doing Prestige. This one's more complicated. It'll tell you about the fact that, Prestige, it has a delayed release capsule. You can't shave it down the way you do with other antidepressants. It doesn't come in a liquid form. It'll tell you about crossing over to other drugs like Effexor or Cymbalta. And so it really goes into the nuances. So if you're out there and you want to come off an antidepressant, stop by survivingantidepressants.com. For people on Cymbalta, there actually is another website, and I think it's called Healing America Now. Okay, so I think this is like the website. It may be the official website of the Cymbalta Hurts Worst Facebook group, but yeah, Facebook forum from Cymbalta Hurts Work. And I guess Healing America Now is retired, and the new site is Healing Without Antidepressants. And yes, so if you are on Cymbalta, come to this website. It will walk through bead counting and all the options you have for coming off of this. Now, let's say you're not coming off an antidepressant, but you're actually coming off a benzodiazepine like Xanax or Klonopin. I would recommend going to the Benzo Information Coalition website. And you can go up here and you can go to deprescribing. And there's a lot of different tabs here that show you how to come off the medication. And so you may just go down to, you could click on the Maudsley deprescribing guidelines or tapering strategies and solutions. And it essentially just walks through everything that you need to know, right down to, doing a cut and hold reduction or a micro taper. It's a really great place to start, specifically if you want to learn about coming off benzos. The other website that's really good for sort of a do-it-yourself walkthrough is the Withdrawal Project. This is by Laura Delano. Her book is coming out this year, and she had a horrific sort of multi-drug withdrawal, and she went and created this website with other great people like Nicole Lamberson, who I'm fortunate enough to work with. But you can go through every single section here, and it kind of takes you by the hand and shows you like everything that you need to get ready for a psychiatric drug withdrawal. This one is not specific to a medication. So, like surviving antidepressants is really the antidepressants and antipsychotics, and the benzo info thing is benzos. This one here is just general principles for drug tapering. All right, so moving on to the next section. This is like not just getting information from online, but now maybe getting into communities. Now, most of the time, the communities that you're going to find are going to be on Facebook or Reddit. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to focus on the Facebook groups because these are the ones that I'm most familiar with. And you can really just search whatever, say, like drug that you're interested in. So for instance, if you're interested in finding like a benzo group, you could type benzo and see what comes up. Benzo recovery and existence is one. I think there's several others. I know one of our coaches is moderating for the Lamictal withdrawal support group, and you could essentially find that group in that way. What this allows you to do is to connect with other people who are going through withdrawal, and you can sometimes ask the moderators questions. It's sort of hit and miss. Some moderators will not kind of wade in and give much advice apart from just general principles, but sometimes some people will be quite helpful about what you need to do. And so that would be the next level, would be to go and join one of these groups so you can interact with other people going through it. Now, the next level up from getting help from, say, like admins or other people going through drug withdrawal and getting their advice would be to seek out someone that's actually kind of a pro in this area. Now, there's two different categories. I'd say you've got like licensed like doctors and prescribers, and then you have what we call coaches in the space. These are people who have been through psychiatric drug withdrawal, and they usually helped hundreds to thousands of people go through the same thing. And then you'd go to a coach really for their experience and for them to kind of take you by the hand and tell you what to do. And then you take that advice and you give it to your doctor, and hopefully your doctor will follow it with you. So where do you go to find coaches? The best place that I would recommend is really going back to benzoinfo.com. And they have a section on here if you search like benzodiazepine cooperative providers. Now, you may not be on a benzo, you may be on an antipsychotic or a mood stabilizer or an antidepressant. It really doesn't matter, because what this website does really well is it has collated all of the people that work in this space. So let's have a look. So here you've got support services. I mean, I know Baylissa Frederick, she's excellent. I know Chris Page. Chris Page is excellent as well. Same as Mark Horowitz and Nicole Lamberson. These are all people functioning as coaches. And so you can look them up, you can book sessions with them, you can tell them your story, and they will put together a plan with you to get off the medications with your doctor. There's multiple other people out there. I mean, some people that come to mind are Angie Peacock. You could just Google her. Laura Delano as well. She wrote the Withdrawal Project. You can Google her as well. I know she takes some appointments. You can also ask in places. So here's where I'd go if maybe you're not having any luck finding people here. I would go to, here you go. So what you do is you want to go to the Surviving Antidepressants Forum. And if you search like recommended doctors, therapists, and clinics, you can go here. You'll see that it starts back in 2011. But if you go to the last page, these are the most recent ones. And you can create an account here and just ask, hey, does anyone have any great experiences with coaches? And then you're going to get really up-to-date information. A lot of people use this website, and this is really sort of the best forum for searching for people. So you could kind of just put your request, hey, I'm doing this taper, I'm looking for someone like this, maybe within this budget. Does anyone have any suggestions? You could also ask in the Facebook groups as well, because many of those people may have also worked with different coaches. Let's talk about the next step now. So let's say you don't just want to work with a coach. Maybe you want to work with a doctor, because they're going to essentially prescribe you medications. They're going to be comfortable with doing a slow and gradual taper. Unfortunately, many mainstream doctors don't do this. And so there can be a lot of value to finding a doctor to help you do this. And so I'm going to show you the places that you would go to find a doctor. But a quick caveat on that is the coaches, and here's why you might want to have a coach and a doctor. If you have protracted benzodiazepine withdrawal or protracted antidepressant withdrawal or some kind of drug injury, most doctors aren't going to know what to do with that. Even people who are taper friendly, they haven't seen enough of it. But the coaches will. The coaches will have lived through it, and they will have helped a lot of people through that. So there can still be a lot of value in having a coach and a doctor. So just bear in mind, even if you see a doctor and they're kind of okay to let you do the gradual taper, they may not know a lot about drug injury, protracted withdrawal, and such. So it's kind of different. So ideally you pair the two if you can. So here's where you go to find a doctor. So the first place, I'm kind of already here. It's this forum on survivingantidepressants.com, recommended doctors, therapists, and clinics. Now, because doctors are harder to find because of licensure, you might write, hey, I'm in Virginia. I'm looking for a doctor who could help. And you just have to wait for someone to reply. You could also sort of trawl through here. There may be a search feature here. I haven't played around with it, but you can. It looks like there is. But you could just go through here. And this works internationally, right? I just saw someone ask about a doctor in Australia there. And you could just see all of these posts from the last couple of years about different people who have had good or bad experiences in different places. So that's one place. The next place is back over here on the benzoinfo.com page. If you click here on benzodiazepine tapering cooperative providers, it's kind of pretty close to the top if you just scroll down to here. It has a list of doctors. This is kind of US focused, but it does have an international section. So let's click here. Yeah, I know Dr. Rob in Australia. He's someone who's great. Obviously, there's not enough here internationally, but if you are in the US, there are a lot of people, and yeah, it just goes state by state. Sometimes you may have to call a couple of these people before you find them. I have gotten some feedback that people have used this website and doctors haven't gotten back to them, but there really is a big list. Like for instance, in California, like we've got, looks like 10 people or so on there who you'd call. Again, most of these doctors more familiar with tapering, less familiar with protracted withdrawal. The final place is Mad in America. So Mad in America is a kind of a news aggregator for articles about, critiques on psychiatry and mental health. But they have this provider directory where people can list themselves. And again, you would just search, like, let's say you're in New York. Let's just search New York here. And you can scroll down and you've got some, social workers. You've got a couple doctors here. This is out of date. I know Kelly Brogan doesn't do prescribing anymore. So yes, you may have to try a few of these before you find someone, but this is a really good place to start. So there you go. That's my summary of where you would go and where you would look for help if you're thinking about coming off your medications. I hope that was helpful. People who are watching this who have experience, if I've missed anything or if you have great recommendations for coaches or providers, please link them in the comments below. You have no idea how helpful it is to other people going through this now who really want good help. Oh, and before I forget, if you're interested in actually learning about like the practical aspect of coming off these drugs, check out this video that I did on how to come off antidepressants in 2025. It walks you through exactly how to do it right over here.